In this tutorial, I will teach you how to make X's and O's, which we will later turn into our Valentine's Day table runner. I will have a link in the description down below for the actual table runner tutorial. In this tutorial, we will just focus on how to make the X and O blocks. To make one single X or O block, you will need 4 squares cut 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches. Then you will need 8 squares cut inches by inches. For myself, the inch-sized squares are pink and the larger squares are white. Take 4 white squares and lay a pink square right sides together in one of its corners. Then you will mark a line from point to point on your pink square and sew along that line. Now I do have an easier method, which is where I put painter's tape from the point of my needle all the way down in a straight line on my sewing machine. That way, when I'm sewing across that marked line on my square, I don't actually have to mark it, because I let the top point of my pink square go towards the needle, and then I follow the bottom point of my square along the line of the painter's tape. This way I can chain piece a lot of these pieces together easily. Once you've done this to all 4 squares on the one side, then flip your white squares around so you can do the exact same thing on the opposite side. And now it's time to trim away the excess fabric. Do this leaving about 1/4 inch of fabric from the stitch line. Next, you will take all 4 pieces and press the seams to the side. And now we can begin to assemble our blocks. So with the 4 pieces that we've created, you can lay them out to make an X shape or an O shape. When you sew them together, I would focus on the 2 top blocks and the 2 bottom blocks. Sew them together using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, focusing on matching up those center seams. I wouldn't worry so much about the top corner and the bottom corner lining up as much as I would focus on matching up that center seam. Another thing that will help is when you are sewing that 1/4 inch seam, make sure that the seams that you've lined up are facing down towards you instead of up towards the needle. That way they stay laying in the right place. Then press those seams open before attaching the top part of your block to the bottom part of your block. Now pay attention, are you making an X or an O? And then line up that center seam and make sure that your center seam stays lined up. This will help all 4 pieces match up nicely. Then press that final seam open once again before trimming a minute little bit away from your outer edges. I say minute because if you've sewn it correctly, it shouldn't be too askew. So now that you've seen how this X and O block can be created, I hope you'll join me in making my Valentine's Day table runner. Or if you would like to learn how to make my heart block, I will have both of the links in the description below. Happy Valentine's Day!